Hi guys. Today I'm super excited to give you my spoiler-free thoughts on the 2023 version of The Little Mermaid. Now, I've got to kick off right away and let you know that for me, the live-action remakes have been very hit or miss, with very few of them, maybe none of them, being like, I love this movie. I can always appreciate it when they switch things up a little bit. It's why Aladdin worked for me and The Lion King didn't, right? The Lion King, shot-for-shot remake of the animated version, nothing new going on. Aladdin, at least, they gave us a new character, they gave us a couple of things that were switched up a little bit, and I enjoyed it more. Now, The Little Mermaid goes from an 80-minute cartoon, right? The animated film, the original, is 80 minutes. This live action version is 2 hours and 10 minutes. That is a massive difference, right? So you're thinking, what did they add? They had to have added a ton of stuff. They had to have messed things up, right? I mean, I feel like so many people, myself included, very, very nervous going into this movie. How did they cram that much extra stuff and still make this work? Did they do that? Did they pull it off? For me, personally, I really, really enjoyed this movie. I was completely surprised. There are moments where I was laughing out loud. I mean, listen, Awkwafina as Scuttle and Daveed Diggs as Sebastian, that is the duo I did not know I needed. They are so funny and kept me cracking up all the way through this film whenever they were on screen. And I absolutely love that. I was also in tears. Listen, the second Halle Bailey opens her freaking mouth, I am a mess. Not to mention, every single time she hits one of those notes, you just can't help but feel it. And I mean feel it in your bones, in your heart, and the tears just flowing. Almost every single time that girl opened her mouth to sing, I was crying. She is perfect as Ariel. She is sweet and adorable and just, she feels like she really, truly embodies Ariel. And then we've got Melissa McCarthy. Now listen, Ursula is one of my all-time favorite villains, if not my favorite villain. So I was, again, a little nervous going into this, okay? We've got Melissa McCarthy, who's a great comedic actress, but can she, be Ursula? Ursula's supposed to be terrifying. Ursula is one of the scariest villains, in my personal opinion, right? She's literally just going to, take the voice from this girl. But I'm happy to report that for me, I thought Melissa McCarthy does a great job as Ursula. In fact, one of my biggest complaints of this film is that I wanted more Ursula. I felt like if we added all of this time to the film, we should have gotten more Ursula, and we really didn't. Ursula has just about as much screen time as she did in the 80-minute version in the animated film, and I just would have liked more because Melissa McCarthy does such a good job in that role. I loved her snarkiness and her sassiness, and let me tell you, Poor Unfortunate Souls is one of my favorite sequences in the film. I really did enjoy it. But let's talk about the changes that were made in this movie, because we do get 3 new songs, okay? One of them, unfortunately, it's Ariel's too, because like I just said, I was just praising Halle Bailey's voice, right? She's phenomenal. It's forgettable. It's like, okay. And the sequence is a little bit weird because she sings it when she has no voice. So it's like what's going on in her head and you don't actually see her get to perform it. It's more of like a voiceover while things are happening, and that just really didn't work for me. It's one of the biggest missteps, I think, because it is a beautiful song and I would have liked to have had a big musical number, but unfortunately the way that it's in here, it just kind of ends up, that was an okay song and we've moved on and it's a little bit forgettable, okay? But then, I told you already that I love myself some Scuttle and Sebastian in this film. Their song together, they have a song, they have a rap, whatever you want to call it. It's so good. It's hilarious. I was cracking up. I loved it. It's, again, that's another one of my favorite performances because it just works. When it comes out, the part where it's weaved in, I don't want to spoil anything, but it's really, really great, and it really, really, truly works, and I really, really enjoyed that. And then Prince Eric has a song, and Jonah, who plays him, that boy has some pipes too, right? I mean, he's no Halle Bailey, but the guy can sing, and I really, really enjoyed his song. I thought it was great. I think it's emotional. I think it drives the story forward, and it makes sense where it's put in. And that's by far my favorite of the new additions of songs. I thought it was really, really great. And then other than that, right, involving Prince Eric as well, the additions that they made is I feel like you get more of Eric and Ariel's relationship. It makes more sense, okay? Because listen, and most movies, especially like children's movies, are guilty of this, right? But, in the original, it's like, oh, he's cute. Oh, she's pretty. Yay, we love each other. Let's get married. And you're like, do you have anything in common? Have you spent enough time together? Like, come on, people. Listen, I got engaged after 4 months, so I'm not one to talk. But at least I got to know the guy first, right? So that's kind of how it feels, right? Think about like Han and Anna in Frozen, right? You're just like, what is going on? You can't just get engaged and just get married in like 10 minutes. Like, that just doesn't make sense. So in this version, they really do deepen that relationship between Ariel and Eric. You see that they have things in common. They're both adventurers. They're both collectors, right? They actually really, without knowing it, like admire each other's worlds, right? He obviously doesn't know she's from the ocean, but he collects these things from the ocean. And we do know, of course, she collects things from the human world, right? So I love that you see them fall in love, and it makes sense when they fall in love, and their journey makes sense in this movie, and that I really, really appreciated that. And I think that's because the movie just took the time to build their relationship and make it believable. They have several scenes together, and I don't want to get into spoilers, but like I said, they spend a lot of time together. They have some great moments, and even without her being able to speak, you can see the chemistry that they have, and that's testament to the actors, right? They're both really, really great, and you can tell that the chemistry is there. They bring that to the screen, and I really appreciated that. We also have a whole new character. We have a whole new character, the Queen, Eric's mother. And again, this adds more to the story. You get, Ariel feels trapped in the water by her father. Oh, Eric feels trapped in the castle by his mom. And again, that's more of a relationship, more things they have in common, more things that make sense for them. I love the character of the Queen in here. I'm a parent. I could totally see her side of things, the way things go down a little bit later. I don't want to say too much, but I really enjoyed her. I thought it was a great added role. And yeah, it really also helps to build that relationship and things that Eric and Ariel have in common. So let's get to like the biggest issue. Honestly, I listen, more Ursula, yes. But another issue is the CGI is just not fantastic, right? And that's just, listen, and I know this sounds awful, and I tried to put it out of my head as much as I could, and I think it's just extremely difficult, but we've seen some things that have mastered making underwater scenes, right? We've got Wakanda Forever, okay? And then we also had Avatar: The Way of Water that are just absolutely phenomenal underwater scenes. Like, it looks incredible, it looks beautiful, it's stunning. So when you see something that has maybe not as polished CGI, not as polished underwater scenes, you're like, ooh, oh, that didn't look great. Like sometimes when she's swimming backwards, which is great, like sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes it does. There's Under the Sea, which is one of my favorite sequences in the animated movie. Just really didn't work in this film for me. I like the song. I enjoyed parts of it. I really did enjoy parts of it, but some parts you're just like, oh god, that didn't look great. What were they doing there? There are a couple times where King Triton uses his trident, say that 5 times fast, that is a tongue twister, underwater, and it doesn't look great. The explosions don't look that great. It's things like that you're just like, ugh. Like you'll be watching it, oh, this is beautiful. Oh, I'm loving this story. Ugh. Okay, let's keep going, and it does kind of settle in. It's like at first it's a little bit jarring, especially the underwater scenes, but it doesn't take that long to get used to it. I will say too, Kiss the Girl, one of my absolute favorite songs. People are all talking about they're changing the words, they're changing it up to make it more PC, blah, 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 blah. I didn't mind what they did. In fact, I barely noticed the things that were changed. I love that scene. It's probably one of my favorite scenes in the entire film. Part of Your World is like my favorite like performance just because like her voice and it's phenomenal, and I was crying and it was like a whole thing. Like you just feel moved. But Kiss the Girl is fun. It's funny. It's entertaining, and I really, really liked it, and I really loved that moment because it really did feel like there's Eric and Ariel falling in love in this moment. It's not just like, you've got to kiss her, she's got to get, her voice back. It was very different. It was very much like a relationship forming, and that is what I really enjoyed about that performance. I love that part, and I just, again, I mean, it's Scuttle and Sebastian and even Flounder in there, and it's fun. Flounder doesn't look great, speaking of things, Flounder is very skinny and not yellow, and it's like, what's going on? However, Flounder's not really in this movie that much, so it's like you kind of forget about him, and it's not as annoying or as distracting as you might have expected that it would be. If you've seen the original, you know what happens with Ursula towards the end. That wasn't great. Luckily, they glossed over it very quickly. That's probably my biggest issue of visuals in the film. Perhaps when I see it a second time, because I will be seeing it a second time, it will change my opinion. But that just wasn't great. But honestly, listen, I loved the ending of this movie. I loved the changes that they made with certain things in this movie. I really did enjoy The Little Mermaid. This live action remake. It's easily my favorite live action remake. Like I said, they've all been like kind of hit or miss for me, but none of them I've like loved so much that I'm gonna go see it a million times. The Little Mermaid I would see several times on the big screen. I recommend checking it out on the big screen. It's moving. It's incredible. The cast is phenomenal. The adaptations, the changes that they have made are fantastic. The additional songs, 2 of which are great. One is forgettable, but it's not bad, you know? I mean, listen, it's just, if you loved the original Little Mermaid, I do think you will love this version. It is something truly special, something that absolutely should be seen in theater, something the whole family can enjoy. I can't wait to go see it again, personally. Yes, there are issues. I am admitting that. But the movie overall is beautiful. It's magical. The performances are incredible. It's moving. It's touching. I had goosebumps. I had tears. I was laughing. I freaking had a blast. And that is what is important when you go see a movie in theaters. So listen, I give The Little Mermaid 2023 version a 4 out of 5. I really hope you guys go check it out in theaters. If by the time you got to this review, you've already seen it, let me know what you thought down below in the comments. Be sure to give me a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more videos like this one. Follow me over on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and check me out at MamasGeeky.com. Thanks, guys. I'll see you next time.